My name is Stephanie, and I'm about to share the most satisfying workplace revenge story that ended with my backstabbing coworker getting arrested in front of our entire executive team. For 2 years, I had been working as a senior marketing analyst at a prestigious consulting firm, consistently exceeding expectations and building a reputation as one of the most dedicated and innovative employees in our department. Everything changed when Rachel Martinez joined our team 6 months ago as a marketing coordinator, presenting herself as an ambitious team player who was eager to learn and contribute to our company's success. What I didn't realize was that Rachel had been hired specifically to eventually replace me at a lower salary, and she was willing to use any underhanded tactic necessary to accelerate her rise up the corporate ladder, including theft, fraud, and calculated sabotage of my career and reputation within the company. Rachel's toxic behavior began subtly with small acts of workplace sabotage disguised as helpful collaboration and friendly competition between colleagues. She would volunteer to help with my projects, then deliberately provide incorrect information to clients or submit reports with errors that made me look incompetent and unprofessional. Rachel started scheduling meetings with my key clients during times when she knew I would be unavailable, slowly building relationships and undermining my credibility by suggesting that I was overwhelmed and unable to handle my current workload effectively. She would arrive early and stay late, not because she was particularly dedicated to her work, but because she was using the extra time to access my computer files, copy my research, and gather information about upcoming projects that she could use to make herself appear more knowledgeable and prepared than me during team meetings and client presentations. The most devastating part of Rachel's sabotage campaign was her systematic theft of my intellectual property and creative work over several months. I had been developing a comprehensive digital marketing strategy for our biggest client, a project that represented 6 months of intensive research, data analysis, and innovative campaign development that could potentially earn our firm a multi-million-dollar contract renewal. Rachel had been assigned to assist with data collection and administrative tasks related to the project, giving her access to my files, research notes, and preliminary presentations that contained all of my original ideas and strategic recommendations. She used this access to create her own version of my work, making subtle changes to avoid detection while essentially copying every major component of my marketing strategy, including target audience analysis, budget allocations, creative concepts, and implementation timelines that I had spent countless hours developing and refining. My suspicions about Rachel's unethical behavior were confirmed when I discovered she had been accessing my computer after hours using administrative credentials that she had somehow obtained without authorization. I installed monitoring software that revealed Rachel was not only stealing my current project files but also copying historical data from previous successful campaigns that I had developed independently over the past 2 years. She was building a portfolio of my work to present as her own accomplishments, planning to use my intellectual property to secure promotions and salary increases while simultaneously working to have me terminated for allegedly poor performance. The monitoring software also revealed that Rachel was accessing confidential company financial information, client contracts, and employee records that were far beyond her security clearance level, suggesting that her criminal behavior extended well beyond simple project theft and into serious fraud territory. Armed with this evidence, I decided to let Rachel proceed with her plan to steal my project while I prepared a comprehensive investigation that would expose not only her theft but also the full extent of her criminal activities within our company. I discovered that Rachel had been systematically embezzling funds from various departmental budgets by creating fake vendor accounts and submitting fraudulent invoices for services that were never provided. She had stolen over $50,000 over the past 6 months, using sophisticated accounting manipulation to hide the theft from our financial oversight systems. Rachel had also been forging executive signatures on contracts and internal documents, creating false performance reviews to sabotage other employees she viewed as competition, and selling confidential client information to competing firms in exchange for personal financial compensation. Her criminal enterprise was far more extensive than I had initially realized, and I knew that exposing her would require careful coordination with law enforcement and company security. The perfect opportunity for my revenge came when Rachel announced that she had developed an innovative marketing strategy for our biggest client and requested a presentation slot during our monthly executive meeting attended by the CEO, department heads, and senior management team. She had stolen my entire 6-month project and was planning to present it as her original work, hoping to secure an immediate promotion and have me fired for allegedly failing to contribute meaningful work to the client account. I played along with her plan while secretly coordinating with our corporate security team and providing them with comprehensive evidence of Rachel's theft, embezzlement, and fraud activities that I had been documenting for weeks. The security team worked with local law enforcement to prepare arrest warrants based on the evidence I had provided, timing everything perfectly so that Rachel would be taken into custody immediately after her fraudulent presentation exposed her crimes to the entire executive leadership team. The day of the executive meeting arrived, and Rachel looked confident and excited as she prepared to present my stolen work to the company's top leadership, clearly believing that her plan to destroy my career and steal my accomplishments was about to succeed perfectly. She had spent the previous week rehearsing the presentation and memorizing talking points about research methodologies and strategic decisions that she had no role in developing, preparing to take full credit for months of my innovative work and creative problem solving. Rachel began her presentation with enthusiasm, explaining complex analytical processes and strategic recommendations that she barely understood, while I sat quietly in the back of the room watching her dig her own grave with every word she spoke. The executives were impressed with the quality and depth of the marketing strategy, having no idea that they were witnessing an elaborate theft of intellectual property that was about to be exposed in the most dramatic way possible. Halfway through Rachel's presentation, I stood up and politely interrupted, asking if I could provide some additional context about the research methodology and data sources that had been used to develop the strategic recommendations she was presenting. The room fell silent as I began explaining the specific details of my 6-month research process, including dates, times, and documentation that proved I was the original creator of every component of the marketing strategy Rachel was attempting to claim as her own work. I presented timestamps from my computer files, email correspondence with clients, and meeting notes that clearly established my ownership of the intellectual property that Rachel had stolen. The executives looked shocked and confused as they realized they were witnessing a case of blatant plagiarism and workplace theft, while Rachel's face went completely white as she understood that her criminal behavior had been exposed in front of the most powerful people in our company. The presentation room erupted in chaos as I continued revealing evidence of Rachel's criminal activities, including her embezzlement scheme, forged documents, and sale of confidential client information to competing firms that had cost our company significant revenue and damaged our reputation in the industry. Security officers entered the room right on cue, presenting arrest warrants for multiple felony charges including theft, embezzlement, fraud, forgery, and corporate espionage that could result in up to 15 years in prison if she was convicted on all counts. Rachel tried to deny the charges and claimed that I was framing her out of jealousy, but the overwhelming evidence made her protests sound desperate and pathetic as handcuffs were placed on her wrists in front of our CEO and entire executive team. The executives were stunned by the scope of Rachel's criminal enterprise and immediately began discussing legal action to recover stolen funds and protect the company from further damage caused by her betrayal of corporate trust and fiduciary responsibilities. The aftermath of my workplace revenge exceeded every expectation I had for justice and professional vindication, watching Rachel's life completely fall apart as consequences for her criminal behavior finally caught up with her in the most public and humiliating way possible. She was immediately terminated and escorted from the building in handcuffs, with news of her arrest spreading throughout our industry within hours as competing firms realized they had been purchasing stolen confidential information from a corporate criminal. Rachel was ultimately convicted on all charges and sentenced to 5 years in federal prison, ordered to pay full restitution for embezzled funds, and permanently banned from working in any position requiring financial responsibility or access to confidential business information. The company promoted me to senior management with a substantial salary increase and publicly recognized my diligence in exposing corporate fraud that could have cost millions in damages and legal liability. Most satisfying of all, my stolen marketing strategy was successfully implemented and generated record-breaking results for our client, earning me industry recognition and establishing my reputation as one of the most talented and ethical professionals in our field, while Rachel became a cautionary tale about the devastating consequences of workplace betrayal and criminal behavior.